Well, it's day 30, the penultimate day in the 30-day challenge, because there's, as we all know, one more day in August. You get a bonus day. Surprise! Or if you're doing this at any other time of the year, hey, take an extra day on me, which is very cool. So today I want to talk to you about mistakes. In fact, the key mistakes that people make. And I hate referring to them as mistakes because, well, I've made them and I'm perfect and I don't want to make mistakes. No, seriously. There are things that we just do and it's a natural thing for us to do, and I think this is a good day to talk through those, and just so you know that they're there. And I think most of the time when you have a problem, the biggest part of the problem is acknowledging that it's there in the first place. And I think by doing this and by just letting you have a very good catch-up day and just very easy day today, in the sense that you just need to watch this video and just absorb the lesson, which is fantastic as you race towards making your dollar. So let's go to the slide and let me take you through the mistakes marketers make. Now, where marketers go wrong, first of all, I suppose, we really do have to remember where we started. And this is a big deal. We really do have to remember where we started, because if you remember way back on day one, I sort of did an overview of where we're at, and you'll remember it had market research, traffic, conversion, and product. That's the magnificent symphony of four parts, as I described it way back then. And really, at the end of the day, when we're looking at identifying issues and areas, there are four. There are just four areas where there are issues and mistakes that marketers place, and they're the same four areas where we need to concentrate. And I've got to say, in terms of order, the mistakes that are made are also identical in terms of the same mistakes get made, and the order in which they get mistakes made are a big deal. So let's go through them one by one. Let's have a look first at market research. Okay, with market research, the first point I need to make is 95% of problems start here. This is not the place to shoot, fire, aim. I love the whole concept of, taking action, and this is and I'll actually talk about that in just a second. But market research, you need to take action doing the researching. You've got this incredible tool with Market Samurai. By now you've wrestled with it for 30 days and you will start to really understand it. I know I've been traveling literally around the world while we've been doing this particular 30-day challenge, and universally when we have 30-day challenge meetups, I see people just come up to me and just say, this is just a fantastic tool. And it is a brilliant tool, and it's just like any tool, like a guitar or whatever. You just need to play it in, you need to get it working. So if 95% of problems start here, the best thing you can do is just really focus on the market research. It was the most intense part of the 30-day challenge, with good reason. We really want you to get that right. Now, the other thing, I suppose, the mistake that people make is that, and I suppose we're a bit sneaky by this, because really we've made sure that you do 30 days of testing. And this is really important, because with testing, you'll find something that pops. And the only way you're ever going to find something that pops is by testing. So even though we're establishing the business, we're establishing a foundation, or we're bringing your small business online, we're also testing the market at the same time. I mean, how cool is that? Where else can you actually make some money actually doing the market research? Usually you have to pay for market research. So I think that's pretty cool. It's sort of like sort of American Idol, where they basically, you're paying for them to find a #1 artist, because every time you vote, they make money. And of course, the one person with the most votes wins, and at the end of it, they've got a guaranteed #1 single. So it's very much, I love that methodology, and that's what we're doing inside the 30 days. The other area where I think people have the biggest issue with market research is they can't actually find an idea. And almost universally, this comes down to the comfort zone. The comfort zone is where the majority of the issues come. What do I mean by comfort zone? I mean that in our life, quite realistically, we have a fairly small focus area. We just can't, imagine if we had to actually process every piece of information that we were bombarded with. Hey, we bombarded with you with enough stuff over the last 30 days. So by necessary, you have to filter. It's just part of the deal. However, when you're in the market research phase, filtering can be a real issue because you only tend to test a few markets. And hey, if you spend a whole day testing different markets that you're aware of and you haven't come up with anything, I can understand why you think, oh, there's just nothing out there. But I really have to encourage you to really step outside that box and pick something completely different. Even if you have no intention of going forward with it, just picking something different to do research on will at least open your eyes up to a different set of numbers. And it will just convince you that the numbers are out there. Because here's the thing, folks, there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of markets and phrases and so on that will make money and that you will do well in. How do we know? Because there are already people doing that. So it's a matter of getting out of your comfort zone, and that's an important thing. Okay, let's move on to our second part of the Magnificent Symphony, traffic. Now, I suppose there are three things inside of traffic where I see that there are particular issues. The one, and Alison Reynolds, who I have to give a shout out to, one of our 30-day challenge moderators, because she came up with this phrase and I loved it. It's Stockholm Syndrome. Look it up. But it's very, very appropriate because people get so attached to their phrases that they've found in market research that they can't let them go. And this is a big problem. Even though, and comes to the second part, when you're testing, we are testing these phrases because even though we're using Google's own data with Market Samurai, for whatever reason, their data is not always accurate. And so it doesn't reflect what happens in real world conditions, so we have to test. And that's a big thing. And here's the thing. If you test and you find that there just isn't the traffic, just make sure you check for seasonality, because that's a big mistake people make. You might be completely out of season. No use trying to sell barbecue secrets when it's the middle of winter. Those sorts of things become a significant issue. Also, what day of the week are you testing on? Maybe people don't search on that particular day. So you've got to keep it in context. But if it works out, you've done all your testing, you've checked all those factors, and the phrase doesn't work out, well, you have to move on. An exception to this is for those of you who are bringing small businesses online, or a musician or an artist. Oftentimes, you won't have traffic on a particular phrase for days, but that one day where you do have traffic, you want to capture that prospect. So for you need to just blanket coverage your phrases regardless of traffic. Very, very important point. The third part is time. And with time, you need to allow yourself time to really test the traffic. Just throwing something up in a day and waiting to see what happens is not enough. This is a lumpy business in the sense that some days you'll have a lot of traffic, for no apparent reason you'll have none the following day. It's all lumpy. Over time, it definitely smooths out. And if you looked at it from a year's point of view, it's a very smooth business. But day to day, it can be lumpy. So you need to allow for that. You need to test for that. That is very important. Now, our third part of it is conversion. And the biggest single mistake people make here is tinkering too early. They don't get a sale immediately after 24 hours, so they start changing stuff. You need, at the very, very minimum, 200 unique visitors to test anything. At an absolute minimum. I prefer to see 1,000. But at an absolute minimum, you need 200 unique visitors. Until you do that, you've got no data whatsoever. So it really is important for you to give it time. And it's not more than time, give it traffic. Because there's no point testing something unless you have traffic. So you have to build that traffic to get that up to a point where you can test it. The second part of conversion, where you start to come into the story, and we talked about this in the copywriting lesson a couple of days ago, the biggest thing is just be yourself. Don't try to be somebody else. Tell a story. The number one thing you can do to help your conversion, without a doubt, is just be yourself and tell a story. That's the best way that you can sell. And it's so important that you do that. There's a great book called Made to Stick by Dan and Chip Heath. Great book. And it's fantastic about what makes up a good story. I really enjoyed it, and it's really worth having a look at. Finally, number 4 is product. And the biggest mistake people make about product is, of course, doing the product first. You'll notice inside the 30 days we really haven't talked about product, and that's very deliberate, because without the market research, traffic and conversion, a product is insignificant. It's just not useful. And most people, the vast majority of people, when they tackle any business, start with the product first. You need to go market first, and that's so important. And you'll let the market tell you. So what product are we going to do? The market's going to tell you, because as you get familiar with your market and the market's, you get in, you'll start to see what people want. You'll start to see what questions they have. And then you ask yourself, what's the best way to answer those questions, and what medium is the best way to answer those questions? And with that, you'll have a great product that you're at least got a chance of selling, because you've got the traffic, and you've got the conversion, because we've been testing affiliate products. Now, of course, if you're a small business with your own product, or you've got a service, or whatever that happens to be, again, the story, of course, you had your product at the start of the challenge. That's cool. And what we've done is you need to make sure now you've got blanket coverage with all those phrases that people type in to find your service. And don't forget Google Local. Huge opportunity for people with a location-based business. Very, very important indeed. So, tomorrow is the last day. I'm so proud of you. You've gotten this far. It's extraordinary. Well done. Keep at it. We've got a whole road ahead, and tomorrow I'm going to talk about exactly what's in store for us on that road ahead. So, we'll speak to you soon. Hey, and if you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure you give us a rating if it's been very useful to you. Give us 5 stars, that'd be awesome. And remember that the high definition version of this particular video is available at 30daychallenge.com in our training section. There's also cliff notes, so transcript of this particular production, and there's also versions that you can download for your iPhone, iPod, and other portable media players. There's also an incredible forum where literally thousands of people just like you are participating in the 30-day challenge, and it just gives you so much great help, and it's just such a great support mechanism. It really is fabulous. So, we'll see you next time.